There were 3 of them sitting across the conference table. My boss, a legal representative, and someone from HR who couldn't even make eye contact. A manila folder sat in front of me. Plain, unmarked. I opened it slowly. Voluntary resignation agreement was printed at the top. After 21 years. After I'd just closed a $3.4 million contract the week before. After I'd trained half the executive team, including the man now sitting across from me, the CEO. The same person I'd taught operations basics when he was just a 22-year-old intern who couldn't figure out our CRM system. He cleared his throat. Mira, this is a graceful exit. We're offering a generous severance package. We think it's best for everyone. Best for everyone. Translation. Best for them. I looked at the signature line. My hand didn't shake. My voice didn't crack. I need 24 hours to review with my attorney. The legal rep tensed. We were hoping to finalize this today. Tomorrow, I said firmly. I closed the folder, stood up, walked out. My name is Mira Dalton, and they just made the biggest mistake of their corporate lives. I built my career one late night at a time, one impossible deadline met, one crisis managed while everyone else panicked. I didn't sleep my way into the executive team. I outworked every single person at that table. I was the fixer, the problem solver, the institutional memory. I remembered client birthdays and quarterly metrics, knew which board members preferred email versus phone calls, could recite our pricing structures from memory. For 21 years, I was the glue holding that company together. I mentored interns who became managers, trained analysts who became directors, built systems that ran so smoothly, people forgot they needed maintaining. But women like me don't get medals. We get replaced. Quietly, efficiently, with a manila folder and 3 people who won't look us in the eye. I knew why this was happening. Had known for months. The new CEO wanted his own people, younger, cheaper, more controllable. And I was none of those things. I was experienced, expensive, and I asked too many questions, so they manufactured reasons, shifted my responsibilities, excluded me from meetings, then offered me this graceful exit. I signed the next day, but I read every word first. 9 days after my last day, my former colleague Nia sent me a screenshot. My stomach dropped as I opened it. A job posting, on the company website, Business Strategy Lead, Enterprise Solutions, my role, my exact responsibilities, just rebranded with a fancier title. I scrolled down, read the requirements. Every single one matched what I'd been doing. Who got it? I texted back. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. You're not going to believe this. The CEO's niece, her name is Sloan. She's 28. I pulled up LinkedIn, found her profile. Previous job, social media coordinator at a lifestyle brand. Before that, marketing intern. Total corporate experience, 3 years. No strategy background, no enterprise clients, no operations knowledge, but she had the right last name. And apparently, that was all that mattered. I closed my laptop, sat in silence. Then I started making a list. Every client relationship I'd built. Every process I'd documented. Every mistake they were about to make. Because if they thought replacing 21 years of expertise with nepotism would work, they were in for a rude awakening. I held it together through the day, made lunch, did laundry, pretended everything was fine. But when I got into my car to run errands, something broke. I sobbed, full body shaking sobs, hands gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. Not just from betrayal, from waste. 21 years, gone in 9 days. Every late night I'd worked while my daughter had dance recitals. Every weekend I'd spent building presentations instead of relaxing. Every promotion I'd earned through pure competence. Erased. Replaced by someone who probably couldn't even explain what our company did. I cried until my throat hurt, until my eyes were swollen, until I had nothing left. Then I dried my face, fixed my makeup in the rearview mirror, and made a decision. If they wanted to play games, I'd play too. But I'd play to win. 3 days later, my personal email pinged. A former client, a VP at a Fortune 500 company, had forwarded me something. Thought you'd want to see this. Doesn't seem right. I opened the attachment, a strategy presentation, familiar formatting, my slide templates, my color scheme. But Sloane's name was on the title slide. I scrolled through, recognized entire sections, paragraphs I'd written, data I'd compiled. She'd just copied my work, changed the header, sent it out as her own. I right-clicked on the file, checked properties. Author, Mira Dalton. Created date. 4 months ago. Last modified, yesterday. She hadn't even bothered to remove the metadata. I screenshot everything, saved it to a new folder labeled Evidence. Then I replied to the client. Thanks for sending this. I'm no longer with the company, but I'm glad my work is still being used. Let me know if you need any clarification on the strategy. Professional, subtle, but he got the message. I pulled out the resignation agreement I'd signed. Read through it carefully this time. Non-disclosure agreement. Standard. Prevented me from sharing confidential company information, trade secrets, proprietary data. But as I read closer, I noticed something. It said nothing about client relationships, nothing about reaching out to former contacts, nothing restricting my ability to start a competing business. Their legal team had been sloppy. Overconfident. They'd assumed I'd just disappear quietly, take my severance and fade away. Big mistake. I opened my contacts list, started with the clients I knew best, the ones who'd specifically requested to work with me, who'd sent me thank you notes and holiday cards. Not to trash talk the company, not to poach aggressively, just to stay connected. Hi, this is Mira. I've recently transitioned from my previous role and wanted to reach out personally. I've appreciated working with you over the years. Let me know if you'd ever like to connect for coffee. Simple, professional, strategic. I sent 23 emails that afternoon. The responses started coming in immediately. But I also started getting messages from other people. Women I'd worked with over the years, former employees, current ones using personal emails. I know what they did to you. They pulled the same thing with me 2 years ago. I still have the performance review they doctored before pushing me out. The whisper network is real, and we've all been comparing notes. Each message made me angrier and more determined. I wasn't just fighting for myself anymore. I was fighting for every woman they'd underestimated, undervalued, erased. One former colleague, Brielle, sent me a particularly damning email. I saved everything. Every edited performance review, every meeting they excluded us from, every time they promoted someone less qualified. If you ever want to do something about this, I'm in. I responded immediately. Let's talk. Suddenly, I wasn't alone, and I wasn't quiet anymore. 2 weeks after I left, my former assistant, still working there, forwarded me an internal email. Subject, licensing deadline missed. The message explained that Sloan had missed a critical software licensing renewal deadline. The company now faced a $70,000 penalty fee. Her response, forwarded in the chain. The system Mira set up was too complicated. I couldn't figure out where the reminders were stored. The system that had run flawlessly for 6 years. The system with automated reminders, color-coded calendars, and step-by-step documentation I'd personally written. Too complicated. Translation. She hadn't bothered to learn it. I screenshot the email, added it to my evidence folder. Then I texted my assistant, "Thank you. Please be careful. I don't want you getting in trouble." She replied, "They're already blaming you for leaving things disorganized. Everyone here knows that's BS." I met one of our legacy clients for dinner. He'd been a contact for over 15 years. Millions in contracts between our companies. We ordered, made small talk. Then he leaned forward. "It hasn't been the same since you left. Sloan doesn't understand our business model. We've had to explain basic concepts 3 times. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you doing anything new? Starting anything?" I paused, measured my words carefully. "I'm considering some independent consulting opportunities." He nodded slowly. "If you do start something, we'd be interested. Very interested. We work with vendors we trust, and we trust you, not the company name." I pulled out a business card. Simple. Just my name and email. "If something develops, I'll let you know." He took the card. Smiled. "Please do." We finished dinner. Talked about families, industry trends, but I knew what had just happened. My first client. Before I even officially launched, I filed my LLC paperwork that weekend. Quietly. No announcement, no website yet, just the legal foundation. Dalton Strategy Solutions. Everything they'd discarded rebuilt stronger. Not revenge, just better. I designed a simple logo, set up a business bank account, created email addresses, worked on a pitch deck, a service menu, pricing structure, drew from 21 years of expertise they'd thrown away. By Sunday night, I had the skeleton of a real business. By Monday morning, I had my first inquiry. The client from dinner had referred me to another company. They wanted a consultation. I scheduled the call for Wednesday. 48 hours to prepare. I didn't sleep much those 2 nights, but Wednesday's call went perfectly. The first contract came in officially on Friday, $110,000 for a 3-month engagement from a Fortune 500 company that had been my client at my old firm. I didn't pitch, didn't chase. They asked, because they knew my work, trusted my expertise, valued my insight, the same insight my former employer had decided was replaceable. I signed the contract, set up the project timeline, scheduled the kickoff meeting, and I delivered. Flawlessly. Better than I ever could have working under someone else's brand, because now, this was mine. My reputation, my quality, my success. My friend who still worked in finance at my old company sent me an encrypted message. You need to see this. Attached was an email thread, the CEO panicking, CFO providing quarterly updates. Client revenue was down 18%. 3 major accounts had either reduced their contracts or were evaluating alternatives. The CEO's message, find out where Mira went. See if she's working with competitors. They knew. They just weren't ready to admit it publicly. That their graceful exit strategy had backfired spectacularly. That replacing institutional knowledge with nepotism had consequences. That clients valued expertise over corporate politics. I screenshot the email, added it to my growing evidence file. Then I focused on my actual work, building something they could never touch. Their company lawyer called my cell phone. I didn't recognize the number, but I answered. Mira Dalton. Hi, Mira. This is Eric from the legal department at your former employer. I'm hoping we can have a conversation, nothing formal, just a discussion. His voice was nervous, uncertain. About what? Just, we want to make sure there's no confusion about the terms of your departure, the non-compete clause, client relationships, that sort of thing. I read my agreement very carefully, Eric. There is no non-compete clause, and client relationships weren't restricted. Silence. Right, of course. We just wanted to clarify. Is there anything else? No, I hung up. Let them sweat. Let them realize that their sloppy legal work had left them completely exposed. Let them understand what happens when you underestimate someone. Sloan posted on LinkedIn a long bragging post about leading the rebrand strategy for the company's enterprise division. She spelled the company name wrong. Twice. Included carousel images showcasing her work. Failed to blur client data in slide 3. Violated confidentiality agreements. Exposed proprietary information. Created a PR nightmare. The company spent $12,000 on crisis PR cleanup the next day. Had to issue apologies to 3 different clients. And Sloan's post, quietly deleted. But not before dozens of people screenshot it, including me. A board member from my former company reached out. Someone I'd worked with indirectly over the years. Mira, I heard you're doing interesting work independently. I'd love to connect if you have time. Translation, we're in trouble. You are the heart of operations. We need you. I took the call. Professional, cordial. He danced around the real question for 20 minutes. Finally, would you ever consider returning? In an advisory capacity? We could structure something beneficial for both parties. I'm actually at capacity with current clients, but thank you for thinking of me. If that changes, I'll keep it in mind. But I wouldn't. Because going back would mean accepting that they could discard me, realize their mistake, and expect me to fix it. No, I was building something better. I reviewed my severance paperwork again. Something had bothered me since I'd signed it. I pulled up the calculations, cross-referenced with my employment contract, checked state labor laws. They'd underpaid me by $8,300. Not a small clerical error, a deliberate shortchange. I drafted an invoice, itemized every discrepancy, added interest, calculated late fees per our original contract terms, sent it to HR, legal, and their chief people officer. Subject, severance payment correction required. The response came within 3 hours. We'll review and respond within 5 business days. I replied, payment is due within 3 business days per the original agreement. Interest accrues daily. The silence that followed was delicious. I reached out to 2 other women who'd been pushed out under similar circumstances. We met at a coffee shop, shared stories, compared notes. One had been replaced by the CEO's college roommate's son. The other had been restructured out right before her stock options vested. We talked for 3 hours. Laughed, got angry, made plans. By the end, we weren't just commiserating. We were partnering. My business became our business. Dalton Strategy Solutions became DSS Consulting Group. 3 senior strategists, 60+ combined years of experience. A network of clients who knew our work and trusted our expertise. We were dangerous, and we were just getting started. An industry blog published a feature. Veteran executives launched disruptive boutique firm, already attracting major clients. They quoted me, profiled our business model, mentioned that we'd secured 4 Fortune 500 clients in our first month. The article got shared thousands of times. Sloan commented publicly, "Some people don't know when to leave gracefully." I didn't reply, but 1,200 other people did. Industry leaders, former colleagues, clients, all defending me, calling out the company's poor treatment of senior staff, sharing their own stories. The comment became its own news story. Their PR team went into damage control mode. Again, the head of operations at my former company requested a meeting. We'd love to explore opportunities to collaborate again, perhaps on a contract basis. I agreed to meet. Then I sent my standard consulting agreement. Rate $1,500 per hour. Minimum engagement 10 hours. Non-refundable retainer $15,000. Due before the first meeting. They paid it. We met. I provided exactly 10 hours of strategic guidance, billed professionally, delivered exceptional value, then declined any future engagement. I'm at capacity with current clients, but thank you for the opportunity. A former employee leaked documents to a business news site. Performance reviews showing my ratings had been stellar for 20 years. Then one year, the year before I was pushed out, suddenly marked as needs improvement, with handwritten edits visible in the metadata, changed after I'd already signed the original review. Screenshots went viral on LinkedIn and Twitter. My phone exploded with messages, media requests, speaking invitations, client inquiries. My former company's Glassdoor rating dropped 2 full stars in 1 week. Their stock dipped slightly, and their lawyer called again. I let it go to voicemail this time. In 1 week, 3 executives resigned from my former company. The CFO, the head of client services, the VP of operations, all citing strategic differences and new opportunities. All 3 reached out to me privately about joining our firm. Sloan deleted her Twitter account entirely. Then one of our biggest former clients issued a public statement. After careful evaluation, we're shifting our enterprise strategy partnership to a woman-led consulting firm that better aligns with our values. Guess which firm they meant? Their lawyer called again. Different tone this time. Mira, the executive team would like to discuss a comprehensive settlement, full severance correction, public acknowledgement, and we'd potentially like to discuss bringing you back in a senior advisory role. I took a deep breath. You think I'd step back into a sinking ship? We're not sinking. Your client retention is down 23%. You've lost 3 executives in 2 weeks. Your stock is dropping, you replaced expertise with nepotism, and you're paying the price. Silence. We made mistakes. You made choices. Now live with them. Is there any offer that would interest you? No. I hung up. The company published a formal statement on their website and LinkedIn. We acknowledge recent leadership missteps and are committed to fostering a culture of respect and recognition for all employees, regardless of tenure. Carefully worded. No names mentioned. No real accountability. I printed it out, framed it, hung it in our new office bathroom, right above the toilet paper dispenser. My business partners thought it was hilarious. I was invited to speak at a national leadership summit. Panel topic: When companies underestimate the wrong person. The moderator asked if I wanted to name the company publicly. I smiled. No need. They know who they are, and more importantly, the industry knows. The clients know. The talented people they've lost know. What's your advice for others in similar situations? Document everything. Know your worth. Build your own table if they won't give you a seat at theirs. The audience applauded. Afterward, 12 people handed me their business cards. If you're ever hiring, we expanded our team the following month. The lawyer called one final time, 6 months after I'd left. Mira, I'm not calling on behalf of the firm this time. This is personal. Okay. I just wanted to say you were right about everything. The way they treated you was inexcusable. And I should have said something. For the first time in our interactions, he sounded genuine. I appreciate that. For what it's worth, 3 board members resigned last week. The CEO is being replaced. They're trying to rebuild, but the damage is done. I stayed silent. You built something better. That's the real victory. I know, and I did. I hung up, returned to my work. Our firm had 15 employees now, 28 clients. Revenue projecting past $3 million for year 1. Everything they'd thrown away, we'd rebuilt stronger. Not revenge, just better.